This podcast is not sponsored or supported by any business or organization. The views reflected on these podcast episodes are my own. Please be aware I am not a medical expert, travel agent, or any other kind of expert. Hey everyone, welcome to the Eat, Explore, Love podcast. I'm Ashley. This podcast is based off of my blog of the same name, Eat, Explore, Love. It talks about the unique challenges in traveling around the world when you have celiac disease. Due to sort of popular demand, I decided to also record a podcast to delve a little deeper into my travels and the lessons learned along the way. Hey everyone, welcome to the special New Year's Eve bonus episode of Eat, Explore, Love, the podcast. On the blog, you can see everything in more detail and get links to all the posts I'm about to talk about, but thank you so much for sticking through with the first couple months of this podcast. This was an idea from my friend Kira. She has been listening to all my travel adventures in person, maybe hopefully through the podcast and the blog as well. And she was the one that said, I think you should do a best of all your favorite places and not so favorite places of where you've traveled. The not so favorite places you have to know me personally to get, but at least we can do some variation of a top 10 list in the different categories of Eat, Explore, Love. So welcome to this podcast. So excited to have you. One more thing, we have new artwork for our logo, for our newsletter, and for our podcast. It was all designed by my friend Sarah, which thank you so much, Sarah, for doing. She is someone that has been there for me through this entire process and the creation of this blog and podcast, and I just love what she created. So thank you so much. And special thanks to her partner, Josh, for the ideas that he floated for the artwork as well. So that is all premiering with these bonus episodes, and we're going to start 2024 out strong. If you would like to be on the list to receive the newsletter, just make sure you reach out to me at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Here goes nothing. So I've had a pretty intimidating year as far as all the places that I've gone to visit. And a lot of these places I'm about to say of where I went to, you're going to hear about in the year of 2024. I do try my best to keep up with everything in real time, or that will be the future goal. But for now, you're going to have to wait a little bit to hear about some of these places. In addition to, in 2024, you're going to see some places I went before 2023 and beyond all the years before that, because I've been tracking places I've been eating for quite a while. So all of that is to come in 2024, but hopefully this gets you excited to see those posts and you keep a lookout for those. So here's all the places that I just visited in 2023. Wilmington, Charleston, Savannah, New York City, Cleveland, Orlando, Baltimore, Boston, Charlotte, Verona, Venice, Milan, Genova, Amsterdam, Dublin, London, Manchester, Liverpool, Bologna, Sofia, Brussels, Bucharest, Istanbul, Berlin, and Munich. Now, Istanbul, Berlin, and Munich, I am seeing in the month of December, and I have to record and write these episodes a little bit ahead of time so that way I'm able to enjoy life and not just spending my New Year's Eve waiting to post this. But those will be talked about in the 2024 recap. So forgive me, this isn't completely accurate, but hopefully this is still fun hearing my top 10 list. So here's my top 10 places of where I feel like were my favorite for having celiac disease. So to meet the criteria of making this list, it is about if I was able to eat multiple places in the city, if I was there on a long-term stay, could I find groceries easily? It is difficult, and maybe what's on my top 10 may not be on everybody's top 10, but this is just based off of the cities and places I went to in 2023. Again, Istanbul, Berlin, and Munich do not count toward this year. They will count toward next year. The first on my list is New York City. I did live in New York for a relatively long time, so I have gotten quite comfortable with being able to find gluten-free foods and restaurant options, and they are delicious. You'll be able to read about some recommendations I have for New York City in a 2024 post. Number 2 on my list is Charlotte. I'm making you wait until 2024 for that one as well, but it was amazing. The food was so good. I will have a list of places that I highly recommend. And my grandmother also, she does not need to be gluten-free, but she loved all the places that we went to as well. And be on the lookout for our podcast together. My grandmother is joining me when I talk about Charlotte, North Carolina, so make sure to stay tuned in 2024 for that. Bucharest is number 3, surprisingly. I did not think that would be the case, but Bucharest was the first city I went to where I felt like I had so many options and I could get things delivered to me, which I was very sick on that trip. So super helpful to not only be able to find gluten-free soup, but to be able to get it delivered to me with no hassle. That was incredible. And you'll be able to find out more about Bucharest in my post in February 2024. Venice is number 4, and it was absolutely incredible. If you keep up with the blog, you will have heard about it and seen it already of all the different places. But if not, please check out the blog. I already have a list of places where I was able to eat and had a great time with my food experience. On top of where I actually went and ate, it seems like every restaurant had a sign in the window that said gluten-free options available. So make sure you go and check out Venice. Boston was another great city where they were completely accommodating of being able to eat gluten-free, and that's why it's number 5 on my list. You'll have to find out more about that in a post in 2024, but it was tremendous. I really loved getting to eat in Boston. London comes in at number 6. In January 2024, I will have my first of a series of posts about London. It looks like we're already going to have 3 different times where I post about London just in the start of 2024 because I've gotten to go back to London again and again. But make sure you take a look at the first set of those posts in January 2024 to find out the great places I got to eat at. Dublin is another city that I put at number 7. If you've been paying attention to the blog and to the podcast, you will have already heard about those amazing options. But if you haven't, go back and check them out. Amsterdam comes in at number 8. Again, I've posted about this place already, but I'm still dreaming about the scallops that I had there. Oh, it was so good. Make sure to check out the blog post and the podcast episode of Amsterdam to find out why I love that city so much, not only for what it is as a city itself, but for the food I ate there. And of course, Verona comes on my list at number 9. And yet again, I have already posted about this, so make sure you check out the blog post and the podcast episode. Here's my list of places that I really loved exploring in 2023. Again, these are based strictly on the places that I visited in the year of 2023, nothing before or after at this point. The exceptions are Istanbul, Berlin, and Munich. You will have to wait until my 2024 recap to see where it lands on those lists. Number 1 is Bucharest. Again, there's a blog post and podcast episode coming out about Bucharest in February 2024, so stay tuned for that. But I'm sure this being number 1 on my list will surprise a lot of my family members. Romania was never a country, and Bucharest was never a city on my bucket list, but I really, really enjoyed it. And most of the locals didn't understand why I felt that way, but it reminded me a lot of New York City, and I just felt so safe and comfortable there. So to find out more, check out the blog post and podcast episode in February 2024. Number 2 on my list is Liverpool. It's going to be the first episode and the first blog posts of the new year. So just stay tuned for a couple more days and you can find out all the reasons why it came out on number 2. Number 3 is Amsterdam. I loved getting to visit my friend Sam. I loved getting to eat great food. I loved the places I got to see. I love how clean it is. I just love Amsterdam. check out the blog post and the podcast episode that's already aired for more. Dublin, I was told ahead of time I was going to hate it, but I loved it. It felt as magical as the stereotype of leprechauns and the pot of gold would suggest. Find out more in the podcast episode and blog posts that have already gone live. At number 5, we have Charlotte. My grandmother and I had so much fun and had so much great food there. We got to see so many great homes, and it felt like I was able to maybe build my future there. The memories I made with my grandmother are just something that cannot be replaced. So that brought Charlotte to number 5. Make sure to check out the blog posts and the podcast, which will feature my grandmother, coming out some point in 2024. At number 6, we have the city that I moved to, Verona. It makes me so sad that when I see people talking about their Italy trips that Verona is not on their list. I think they should definitely change that. It's a perfect little city that is great for a day trip. Bologna is a city that I feel like I could go to over and over again and experience way more of it. And that's what brought it to number 7. You should definitely check out the blog post and podcast episode to find out more. My blog post and podcast episode about Brussels is coming out in February 2024. So definitely make sure you stay tuned for that. I really enjoyed my time there, and such a beautiful city. At number 9 is Venice. It's not so much that I loved the city so much as I loved having the experience with my mom that I got to have. There's just certain things money can't buy, and the experience I had with her, especially at Harry's Bar, where even we were making memories with my grandfather, although he wasn't physically there. It's something I will never forget as long as I live, and I'm so grateful I got that opportunity with my mom. At number 10 is Wilmington. Very much for the same reason that Venice is at number 9. Wilmington made the list because of the time I got to spend with my grandparents. I lived with them in Wilmington for a good portion of this year, and I loved getting to know them better as an adult, and I loved being able to spend so much time with them. It's time I'll never get back, and I am so forever grateful. I talk a lot more about this with my grandmother in a podcast episode that you're going to have to stay tuned for in 2024. And that's my top 10 list for my favorite cities I explored in 2023. And last but not least, the cities of the biggest learning moments for me of 2023. Again, this is based simply on the cities that I went to in the year of 2023, nothing before, and does not include Istanbul, Berlin, or Munich, even though I will have gone there by the end of this year. You'll have to just wait until 2024 to see if they make the lists then. But at the top of my list of big learning moments in 2023 is Verona. Again, check out the podcast and the blog post to find out some more information about the city, but I moved there. It's my first time living in a foreign country for any extended period of time, and it's changed my life in all the best ways that I made that move. I was going through so much living in New York, and I never thought I'd be able to recover, and I felt so isolated and alone, even though I was in such a big city. And I didn't think that would get easier moving to a small city like Verona, but it did. My heart and my mind has grown so exponentially, and it deserves that number 1 spot. Number 2 is London. It is not the best learning moment that I had, but an important one of giving myself some self-confidence. It's coming out in January 2024, the blog post and the podcast. So if you are fine with tough topics, make sure to listen and tune in. Sofia comes in at number 3. And again, it's not on the list of learning moments for the best of reasons, but it has helped me grow in a way that I never would have gotten had I not started traveling. Make sure to check out that blog post and podcast in January. Bucharest is a city where I was able to learn that things could exceed your expectations in the best of ways. I can't wait for you guys to hear that podcast and read those blog posts in February 2024. Stay tuned. Coming in at number 5 is Charleston. My grandmother and I learned a whole lot about ourselves and all the growing that we still needed to do and acceptance of others and folks that are different from us. Make sure to listen to that conversation because it's interesting how different generations absorb and receive information, how we both dealt with it. Charlotte was some more big learning moments for me, and that's why it came in at number 6. So make sure, again, you'll have to listen to my grandmother and I talk about it in a podcast in 2024, and you'll have to read some of the blog posts to find out more. Coming in at number 7 is Venice. Learning to let go and learning a whole new side of my mom for the best of reasons and getting to make the best memories gave me some pretty big learning moments. And the same thing with number 8 at Wilmington. Make sure to tune in 2024. So that's my recap of 2023, and I'm so sorry it couldn't include Istanbul, Berlin, or Munich, but stay tuned for those. Those are definitely going to come out in early 2024. You will not have to wait to hear about those trips. You will just have to wait and see how it ranks and holds up against the 2024 cities I get to visit. This was an incredibly busy year. I am not going to lie, very impressed with myself with all the places I was able to visit, and I cannot wait to see what 2024 brings. I feel like a new person in 2023, and I hope I carry all the lessons that I learned with me into the new year. Hope everyone had a great holiday season, and Happy New Year from Eat, Explore, Love. Bye. Thank you for joining me this week for all the fun journeys and lessons learned on my big adventure called life. For more information on the different cities discussed, check out the blog posts on hieatexplorelove.com, posted every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. If you have any questions or fun stories to share, feel free to reach out at hieatexplorelove@gmail.com. Until next week, remember to eat well, explore the world, and love yourself. See you next time. This episode is produced, scripted, and edited by me, Ashley. Special thanks to Sarah Mientka.